Hello. Welcome to episode 1 of the More Than Muscle podcast. I'm Max. I'm the senior personal trainer at More Than Muscle. I feel like I want to do you guys like a wrestling style in the red corner we have. But why don't you guys introduce yourselves as well?
Andy. I'll go for
Just pick one of you.
I'm Andy. I'm the director of More Than Muscle, and I'm here with my team.
Yeah, I'm Natalie. I am also director of More Than Muscle and personal trainer, and I am also here with my team.
A bit more glamour, guys. Come on, some energy, enthusiasm. Exactly. Someone get the foghorn out. We can put that in post. Basically, we're going to be talking about everything fitness, health related, tackling some subjects, having a little bit of fun, bit of banter with it as well. And hope you guys enjoy. Today we're going to be talking about gym anxiety, but before that I thought we'd do a quick little icebreaker for those of you who haven't met us in person before. So basically, tell me something that's really embarrassing that's happened to you guys in a gym before.
Oh,
I know, it's a tough one, yeah.
You've had loads.
Alright, I actually have had quite a few. During that time when the first time I went to the gym, actually I went to go and see Andy at his work for the first time, and I went into the weights room and it was quite a scary place, and somebody had left loads of weights all on the rack. So I started to unload them all. It was on the squat rack. Unloaded them all on one side, didn't unload the other side. The whole thing went up in the air and it just all crashed down, and I'm sure you heard something and was like, that's Nat.
Bearing in mind I smuggled you in the gym and you shouldn't have been there.
I've also ripped my leggings doing a demonstration of an exercise, like a reverse crunch.
Was that just in front of like one client, or was it a class even worse?
No, it was a couple of clients. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. What about you?
I think first day of work, I was working at a commercial gym and I had to do the graveyard shift. So that's basically you have to put all the gym equipment back and in its rightful places. And I remember walking into the weight room underneath the squat rack, picking up a dumbbell and then standing up and absolutely smashing my head on the barbell. And all the members that I was kicking out were like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And that was like my first day in the gym as an employee. And I felt like a dick.
Are we swearing on this podcast? We can bleep them out.
We can bleep that.
Yeah, it's
Felt like a willy.
Oh, fuck it. Anyway, right.
Max, what about you?
Me.
Can't just skim past that.
Again, I feel like me being the host, I'm allowed to pick one.
No.
And then I can get off scot-free. For me, there's a lot to choose from, but I mean, just a couple of weeks ago with you, Andy, it was doing a squat. I went down. I genuinely wasn't sure if I shit myself. Turns out I had to rush to the bathroom to double check that hadn't happened. Unfortunately, I just like ripped annoyingly a pair of Calvin Klein's, like, nice underwear, but yeah, just completely big old rip down the arse crack, which is really, really lovely. Or there's I was doing box jumps, and a similar problem I think a lot of you tall lads might have if you're doing box jumps. Occasionally you got to look out for how high the ceiling is, because you told me, you said, "Max, put your hands on your hips, do that power test jump." And then I just jumped to them and my head just like went straight up into the ceiling.
Set him up. We did a counter movement jump and I knew the ceiling wasn't that high. And then Max went for it full tilt and his head went through the ceiling.
Fortunately, it was one of those like little polystyrene jobbies, the little squares and stuff. So yeah, if that was hard, mate, I'd have sued you for everything you got.
Not much.
Okay, right. So let's get into it. Gym anxiety, really. So 1 in 4 people suffer with mental health, or they report suffering with that each year, and then 1 in 6 people actually report suffering with it every single week of their lives. So not just the 1 year. So why do you think some people potentially could feel anxious in a gym?
I think anytime you put yourself in an environment you've never been in, you're always going to feel slightly anxious. I think it's overcoming that fear that allows you to get over it. But I suppose, things like this, things like social media, it's so easy to see stuff in a certain light that you don't get the full picture of what it actually is. So I guess that's why it comes in.
Yeah.
I think people just think that when they go into the gym that they're expected to know exactly what they're doing. Whereas most of the time, it's fine if you don't. It's like, that's kind of why we have our jobs. Because we help people with that. But it's not, like, if you join a gym, you don't have to know exactly what you're doing when you first go in there. It's fine. Not everyone knows. I think it's just like the unknown, isn't it?
I think so too. I think it's tricky depending on the gym you go to. A lot of them, like I've been to some gyms where it's been exclusively like proper big laddish bodybuilding gyms, which can feel quite hostile, and for a lot of people that's really nerve-wracking when you walk into that sort of environment, and you feel not only that you don't know what you're doing, but B, physically you don't feel like you're on the level with that. I mean, I've had that before when I was playing basketball at a good level at college, and then we got taken out on a day trip to this gym called I think it's Cheetahs down in Brighton.
Oh yeah, I know.
And everyone there is an absolute mammoth. Beast. And then me, I think I was like 16, 17, so I was playing basketball 4 hours a day, loads of cardio, you could snap my arms like a twiglet. So walking in there, I was just like, big eyes, what the hell is this? Why am I here? I don't know if either of you two have sort of experienced...
Yeah, I think when you're feeling like that, you feel like you're the only person in that area feeling that way. But, I mean... I get it. I've just started doing weightlifting, and I walked into that gym for the first time and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? Natalie, what are you trying to do here? Don't be so silly. You can go back home now and just forget you ever walked in here. But there's something so good about like overcoming that. But it is scary because I think you're worried you're gonna get it wrong or you're not gonna fit in. But
I also think it comes down to when you really want to get something right, that you're scared to get it wrong. It's like I can relate a lot of time when I've played in football teams where, you know, this was the team that I wanted to get into, or this was the game that I had to play really well in, and then you basically shit yourself so much that you don't play really well, or you go hiding, you go missing, but you just need to go out and express yourself. And I think if people actually just put themselves in the gym and go, fuck it, I'm just going to go there.
I'm going to get stuff wrong. And that's just what it is.
They will just grow from it.
I think that's something that's really reassuring for a lot of people that potentially suffer with anxiety in a gym scenario. It's just the fact that, Nat, you're a personal trainer, you've just started weightlifting, you haven't got much of a clue what you're doing, obviously, until you started seeing a professional about it. I mean, I'm the exact same. Like, there are areas of fitness which I've never even tried. I've never tried CrossFit. I've only like laughed at their pull-up form. So, but the thing is, I've never tried it, and therefore I imagine if I went into a CrossFit class, I'd look like a complete idiot because I've got no idea what I'm doing or what the sort of technique or lack thereof in some cases actually is sort of involved in that. Not to slag off CrossFit, I'm sure it gives you a great workout. I've just personally not done it, and I've only ever seen those clips on social.
I've never done Zumba, so
we'll have another. We'll have another episode for
slag off Zumba.
I think so. So how would you best advise people deal with gym anxiety in terms of when they come into a gym? What are some of the best ways people can get around it? Because it's not always just not knowing what you're doing. Sometimes, often it can be insecurity in crowds, feeling like you're being watched, all those sorts of things. A lot of women obviously feel a little bit insecure and anxious because men can be seen as scary, predatory, and all that sort of stuff. So, Nat, how would you advise women deal with gym anxiety?
Well, I had a client in a few weeks ago, and she was really worried about coming in and starting with the gym, and because not with anxiety of actually going into the gym, but the feeling like she didn't feel like she fit in there. So because she felt a little bit overweight, or not that she really knew what she was doing, she was open to learning, but she thought that she didn't really look like that she would fit into there, which is just the worst feeling. And you kind of need to just, wow, it's hard to just say just get over it because it's really hard, but the more you put yourself in that situation and realise that you've got just as much of an opportunity and just as much right to be there as anyone else in there, then that kind of does help. But it's just the worst feeling to think that you don't really deserve to be in there, because you do.
I completely agree. No, I think gym style potentially weighs into that slightly, because you walk into a gym and someone like my dad, for example, would walk in a super baggy, oversized t-shirt and some, baggy shorts and some old trainers from 5 years ago. Whereas, you go in and...
Your dad's a G, bro.
I know it is. Shout out David Dodd. But Andy, how did you describe people that go to, was it the gym group you were talking about? Yeah.
Gymshark guys.
Gymshark guys,
yeah, exactly.
No, they're Gymshark athletes.
Oh,
no, of course it is. Yeah, no, for sure. Gymshark, just in case you're listening, I'm still open for a sponsorship. I do not stand by what Andy's saying.
I mean, I like Gymshark.
Oh, no, for sure.
Andy doesn't fit in any of that.
They just don't have any big clothes.
Yeah, Gymshark. Also, if you're listening, can you do a triple XL now?
I feel like I'm shopping at Mothercare.
That's fantastic.
And it's like, I think it's like selecting a gym as well that would work well for you. So put yourself in, like give yourself a chance and put yourself in a good scenario. Like if you find a gym that works well for you, fine, go with that. If you go into, like you were saying, like the Muscle Mania gym, whatever it's called, maybe don't start there. But yeah, it's not to say that you won't fit in any of the gyms.
I completely agree. So, like some people I've spoken to about gym anxiety, there are a couple of ways which I'd advise based on things that I've seen that have worked for them in the past. Firstly, finding a quiet spot in the gym. So ideally somewhere that's not obviously in the centre, surrounded by people that are walking by you. So, if you can tuck yourself away somewhere, just where you feel like you've got a little bit more privacy. Sometimes they've got separate yoga rooms or whatever it may be. Something like that. And then B, if you can find a workout that you can do all in one space. So versus having to nip around and use every machine all around the gym, you're walking around a lot, you feel like you're getting stared at, maybe someone's wait on a machine that you want to use and then you're not sure what to do, you're left sort of there panicking. If you can find something where you can hang out in the same spot with the same one or two pieces of equipment and not have to move around too much, I think that works really well for some people that don't really want to deal with the crowd aspect.
And small wins, like go in there, small exposures, have good environments, like you say.
Little set station, yourself up.
Go in, get it done, get out, have a good experience. You want to go back there again. Whereas if you're there too long, faffing around with kit, your bench ain't there anymore, you might just get that bad environment and exposure to it and you hate it. So I think small wins.
Definitely.
So, anxiety is obviously a bit of a tough topic and can be a little bit heavy. So let's brighten the mood ever so slightly and play a little game. I thought we'd do a little bit of gym would you rather with you two. Again, being the host, I can remove myself from making the hard choices. You guys can give the answers, and maybe we'll put a poll up on Instagram or something like that and see who's actually in the right with your answers or something like that. So, Andy and Natalie, would you rather fart every time you squat or scream lightweight baby with every single rep you bench?
Fart.
Yeah, I would as well.
Really?
Yeah.
You know why? No one's going to nick my kit, bug me for, can I change over, whatever. That's my squat rack for the next
I think
hour.
I would.
That's your gym, mate. If it's every rep. If you're doing volume, you're getting 15 reps out.
And if I fart, it will feel lightweight because I'll get that velocity out the hole.
So what you're actually saying, you choose both. Yeah. You can fart on every rep and then scream lightweight.
No, definitely the fart one. I think so.
What? Okay.
I don't know. That's
Why?
just my.
I gave a reason. What's your reason?
I don't know. It's just my initial thought.
Yeah, you just don't want to scream.
Your initial thought is to fart. You're full of shit.
In the literal sense. All right, guys. Next one. Would you rather all your clients question every one of your exercise selections, or all clients are 10 minutes late to every session?
Question.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that means like the session's going to be good, they're into it. When people turn up late all the time, it's like, all right, we don't have to do as much work, but if they're not necessarily digging the whole process, you're not getting much out of it. It's boring for us as much as they're not here for the whole hour.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that as well. Question. I'm okay with people questioning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like if it's coming from a good place and if they're genuinely interested, like I love that, and if I don't know, then it makes me go and find out
Yeah.
things and makes me question stuff as well. So I'm okay with that. I just can't stand it when people are late.
Yeah.
And then they've got to warm up, and then you've got like
Everything's backwards.
30 minutes left of the session and everything's rushed.
Yeah.
That I can't stand.
See, I think
But-
that's the caveat, though. I think you say when it comes from a good place. I feel like that's
Yeah.
that's where you got to draw it, because sometimes you can be constantly questioned. You feel like they're hounding you because they want you to prove yourself, or because they've heard different from some other people. So I think you're right in the sense that I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I feel like potentially, it like you say, it depends where that sort of comes
Also,
from.
I mean, some people have had a lot of personal trainers, and we wouldn't be their first personal trainer. So they might have had a completely different way of training before, or they've seen it online completely different to how we're doing it.
Yeah.
So some people are right to question it. They want to know, which is fine. And some people want to question more than others.
Yeah, and let's face it,
And that's
like,
okay.
you just go on
It's
social
just-
media and you see the array of different things that people are being spat at. It's like, of course, it's okay for them to be confused.
Yeah.
Ask me, I'll clarify it. So I kind of thrive off it.
Yeah.
I love that. So next one, all you can drink is protein shakes, or all you can eat is 500 grams of kale with every single meal.
I'll take the kale.
Every meal.
I'll take the
Have
kale.
you seen
You
the
can-
volume
you
of
can
food
do-
that is?
You see how hungry
Yeah,
I
but
get?
actually, if you do like
And
put
like,
them in the oven,
you can do bits with them.
kale crisps,
Yeah.
kale stir fry.
Every
Surely
meal.
kale goes down like spinach.
And it also means you can bang the kale in the protein shake and you can get both.
No, or
Again, Andy, with the choosing both options,
Man,
no,
it's
you
not-
can't
you're not
do
supposed to
that.
want both of
I was
these.
thinking more like put the kale in a burger and then you can.
But to be honest, like, I think I actually prefer kale.
Interesting. I didn't
No.
specify flavour of protein shake. Could have any
Yeah,
flavour
exactly.
of protein shake.
I do think though, if
Clear protein.
if I selected the protein shake option, then we would be going back up to question one.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to say, whatever one you pick, you're fine.
I'm a goner.
We've come full circle, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Andy, you got your legs out, so
Yeah, babe.
prevalent question. Oh, say that closer into the mic for us.
Yeah, babe.
Okay,
Nice,
he actually
stop.
did it. I love that. Here you guys, you listeners can replay and enjoy that bit. So would you rather never train legs again, or only ever train legs?
Only ever.
Only ever, really?
Yeah. Because-
Interesting. Why?
Because you can train them in so many different ways. It doesn't have
True.
to be,
Yeah.
and like, I feel like you need your legs.
Yeah, yeah. They carry your ass around, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So yeah, I suppose you can get like plyometrics, you do speed work, stuff with your sport, as well as obviously your heavy squats and whatnot.
Yeah.
Nat, what about you?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Weightlifter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Weightlifter.
I would
Weightlifting!
Oh, you're calling me a weightlifter?
For those of you who can't see this,
only
Andy's
ever
using
eat-
heavy air quotes.
Weightlifting!
Yeah, only ever train legs. If I could, I would just do that anyway.
I forget I'm not speaking to proper gym bros here, so you turn up in a tank top and trackers. So
just them back.
Just do you?
I think we all know a lot of people that would choose the other option.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one, and I think the toughest question, in my opinion, would you rather train exclusively to country or jazz music, or train in dead silence?
Bro, have you heard the music at the gym?
Okay,
I know what I like.
I know what you'll pick. I'm gonna go country.
No.
I love the selection.
No.
I'm a massive
Yeah.
country music fan.
Andy's
so
gonna
I'd
go.
go with dead silence, but,
Oh,
I'd,
mate.
but I would have the earphones in so no fucker can talk to me while I'm training.
Fairs. Okay,
But I'd
so
go in
you got
silence.
That palace of
Silence.
solitude.
No,
Really? You
I.
can't get pumped though.
Yeah, but did you hear the music you just gave me choice from?
No,
Yeah.
but you
Jazz
quite like.
or
You
yeah,
quite like.
yeah,
jazz.
when I'm chilling, drinking whiskey and eating meat.
Jazz, I think less so, but country, I think you get some like
No,
upbeat, like poppy
I-
country, which you'll get a little
I'd
bit
be
fired
up
up
for
to.
yeah.
Yeah, You-
Hat.
yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't listen to music. I would listen back our podcast.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
No,
That's
well,
a quality
that's
advert right there. Yeah. I feel like you can still train to country music though. You know, you'd be doing some bicep curls. You got someone screaming about whiskey and hay bales and their brand new truck that they just bought.
I think country is fine.
Yeah.
I would happily do that.
But I pick legs every day.
I couldn't do silence.
I pick legs every day. I
me
can't
neither.
do country.
Andy, this is actual silence. Like, you're going to hear every creaking joint.
Listen, when I'm at that gym for the whole day and the same playlist goes
that
round,
knee, Andy.
silent is sometimes good.
It's going to be deafening. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Oh no, I couldn't do it. I think it's weirdly listening to the sound of your own breathing. It feels, it feels strange. Like I can't do it on runs and stuff like that. You're just left with your own thoughts.
If it's heavy, it makes
No.
noise, quote unquote.
Ding, 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 ding. Oh dear. It appears lockdowns made us a bit less social, I suppose, in the last year and a half. Our entire viewpoint on working out has really, really changed. Apparently 40% of adults are anxious to return to social norms, and 50% enjoyed the relief of social pressure lifting as they went into isolation, or as we went into lockdown and you didn't have to actually talk to your friends, family, co-workers and everything like that, which I think really goes to show how much of a bunch of antisocial bleeps we all are in the UK. So why do you think that's potentially affected us all like that, and then how do you think we can potentially start to get back to a new norm?
I think that people were running in circles with so much stress to begin with. There was a huge relief when it happened in some respect, providing your work was okay and financials, all the rest of it. And then I think you just get used to doing what you're doing, and then it's another stress to go back to what the norm was. And I think it goes back to that gym anxiety stuff as well. It's like you've got to get out your box again, get into that environment, overcome your fear, get back into routine and go for it. But I think a lot of it's driven by stress, lack of sleep.
I think for ages, and still at the moment, we've all got an excuse. If we don't want to do something, it's so easy to get out of it.
COVID.
But I think before it wasn't really. So now things are starting to open up, and everyone is at different levels. So some people are fine to go out and they're like, oh, sod it, it's fine. I can go up to London, I can go clubbing, go to the bars, whatever. But other people are still worried too. And I think just we're in this stage at the moment where people are going to want to go out and some people are going to want to stay in. So
it's like when we used to work in London and you used to 6 a.m. get off the train at Liverpool Street. People are running 1,000 miles an hour. They just don't know what time it is. They just want to get into work. They've got 3 coffees in hand, all for themselves, flapjack, whatever. And then lockdown happens and you just get to just come down back to earth.
The relief. I mean,
the relief of it.
If you go on a tube, early morning commuter time in London, it is the most depressing experience you will ever experience in your life. Yeah, everyone genuinely looks like something out of a Tim Burton film. The sad grey wash clay faces, just wondering when to. I was going to say something inappropriate there, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, in terms of Zoom classes and the explosion that's really had, do you want to touch on that a little bit, Nat? Just in terms of how our business has changed and how people are sort of shifting over to that.
Yeah, well, we were just completely shifted to 100% online. Within days last year, and it's kind of stuck. So we do loads of online personal training now. And then also online classes, which is really nice for people because they can now exercise in their own home. So just touching on what we were talking about right at the start with gym anxiety, it's given people a chance to keep fit and healthy, but also to do personal training and joining classes in the comfort of their own home, which has been really good. And it's just given people another option as well. And some people have just stayed doing that. They've got such a great selection of kit. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, loads of people.
I can't believe you have that in your house.
People have spent a shit ton on their kit at home, and it's like, well, I'm actually set up here.
That's amazing. Yeah, so I think if people can have that set up at home and they've got that, then why not?
But it cuts out the commute as well, don't it? People used to start at 6 a.m. because they needed to finish at 7, half an hour shower, get in, have breakfast, maybe make work for 9 or 8:30 whenever you would start. Whereas now, my day starts later. I'll start at 7 because they know they just turn the computer on, start at 7, do their thing, 8 o'clock finished. It just cuts the whole commute out. So I think
and people shouldn't just like have to miss out on exercise because of that. I mean, I've got clients now in like South Africa and
it's mad.
Wales.
It is mad.
Eastbourne.
I love how we moved from South Africa to Wales
Yeah.
in terms of how exotic the locations
That's just my Monday morning.
There was like a Monday
It's
morning.
mad.
There was a Monday morning where you banged like 5 of them in a row, and none of them were in Guildford.
Nobody would, yeah. So it's crazy. But like that's so good. Like people have access to me whenever they want.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's part of my business as to why gym equipment's so expensive these days.
Oh,
I think also
being
like
bought up by everyone. Yeah.
also it was there previous to the pandemic. The pandemic has just accelerated it, and like
Yes.
definitely with
I think
like
it's accelerated everything online.
you don't even have to market it like you used to. People would ask for it, whereas before people didn't really know what it was. So it's accelerated things.
And I suppose these greater number of Zoom sessions which are going on nowadays leads me to my next question, which would just be, can you actually get the same results working out at home as you can in the gym? If you've got that extra convenience, why do gyms still even exist?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I mean, it's down to the individual and what medium they like learning from, and it's the same as the coach. Like, what do you enjoy? What do you want to do? I think that's the fundamental before we even look at like what's better. And then it's down to like, at the end of the day, can you be flexible in your approach on how you get that coaching to the individual, and can you be flexible in your approach on how you absorb that? Because I think it is not for everybody, and that's the major thing, but it's very effective for the people it is for.
It takes some getting used to as well, like coming from a coaching perspective as well. It's you've got your client there and you need to get them to move around more, or they need to move their laptop more. You need to get to grips with what they have on the other side of the camera. Like, I remember when I told you to do some of my clients with online, and you were doing some online coaching as well, and it's just, you're like, well,
it's a really difficult game. Yeah, when you're just sat there in your living room watching people exercise. Yeah,
but you just get used
sure.
to it, and you pick it up, and
you could still provide value over that as well. And I suppose I am dubious slightly, I suppose, about, in terms of like fairly generic, a bit of weight loss, I've got a little bit of a tummy, I just want to shed a few pounds, I'm not that bothered. Those sort of results I think are easily possible working out from home, but I feel like 100%. When the more advanced you get in terms of your lifting, I feel like that's when it starts to wane, in my opinion. If you start, we're looking at powerlifter.
It's interesting you say that. So I had a client over lockdown where we were lifting a lot. She was doing really good, and then the lockdown happened, and she was like, "Do I stop?" And I was like, "You ain't stopping." And we literally squat, bench, deadlift. We even done some clean and jerk snatches, and it was odd because I'd usually spot you or spot her or whatever, but I think it becomes a lot easier if the individual is trained and you've coached them for a long time, because you know their level, their thresholds, where they might fall over, and you can set your session up so it doesn't happen. And you can work different systems to get the result you want without getting so risky with it. But when it's someone completely new, you don't know where those things are. So I think your barrier testing needs to be different. And I think you have to be quite skilled to do it. And my question is, on an industry scale, is I'm not quite sure everyone's ready to deliver it to those individuals. But everyone is.
But I still think you can get results at home. But it's just the type of results maybe that you would get at home. So maybe it's like taking it to the next level. Instead of just going to pick up, I don't know, a set of 12 dumbbells, you now need to ask Amazon you need to like buy them, order them, bring them in, then do the 12s, like cable machines, that kind of stuff. People aren't going to get that set up in their house. So, I mean, you can definitely get results being at home, but
and let's face it, anyone who's got really strong understands the value in a fraction plate or a little bit of a cable angle that needs variation. It's like, unless you're willing to spend out your arse to get it into your home, which most people won't. Some people have.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Some people have.
Yeah, these home gyms. Wow.
I think a gym will always be there. Like I go there.
I think gyms will always be there.
But I go there not just because I need to train. We can train at home. I like to get out, see people, train, have a bit of an environment there,
You're
and then
more
leave.
focused. You can't just nip, back into the kitchen, have a coffee, sit down. You're like, I'll sack off the second half of my session.
Yeah.
Which I completely agree with. I just think it could potentially be hard for someone that potentially can't afford the amount of equipment or the amount of weight.
Yeah, exactly.
In which case, I do think a gym is very necessary.
Hashtag Bowflex.
We were absolutely. Me and Andrew were rubbish in lockdown training. We did that was when I started running.
I was like, you want to go for a walk now?
I just couldn't do. Although we had dumbbells and stuff at home, I couldn't. I think it was just being in that environment of being at home.
Yeah, and you farting every time you squat wasn't good.
It's all the protein shakes.
Stop it.
So to really round out this discussion, I think gym anxiety is something which is a massive challenge, which is being presented to a lot of people, even more these days because of COVID. But there are ways around it, and if you really are struggling, always speak to a fitness professional. I mean, you've got 3 of them right here. You can get us at morethanmuscle.co.uk. Really subtle plug there for you guys. But in all seriousness, even just a friend that's comfortable in the gym, a personal trainer at your local gym, or just anyone that looks approachable. People are friendlier than you think, and people are always going to be willing to answer basic questions and lend a hand, make you feel more comfortable, and just find what works for you. So for our last section, I thought I would practice at my second career, which will be a marriage counsellor. Sorry guys, you might be losing me soon.
You're sacked.
Depends how well this goes.
We might need you more. Never.
So we're going to call this bit Max's mediation, and effectively I'm just going to iron out some kinks with Andy and Nat. Maybe there'll be a fitness twist, maybe there won't. I'm just trying to stir the pot a little bit. That's all this is really for. So I thought we'd play a little bit of word association. So, Andy, I'm going to ask you some questions.
Right.
And then I want you to say the first word that comes to your mind when you think of Nat.
Ooh.
Yeah? Okay. So, for instance, if I say happy, you may say smile. Because, obviously when Nat is happy, she will smile, for example. That's a nice example. So, Andy, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Fantastic. So, the first word is driving.
Shite.
If they could all not be swearing, that would be ideal.
This was mediation.
It is mediation. What we're going to do?
You said first word.
We're going to be in a safe space, and we're going to find out why we've got these feelings between each other.
Okay.
Second word, cleans.
Never. Jerk.
She's a power lifter. Inverted commas.
Stop it! You're just grilling me.
Annoying.
Very.
Training.
Sometimes.
Habits.
Lots of them.
Care to elaborate? I mean, it's
Habits.
just supposed to be one word.
Wait, habits.
Yeah, I said habits.
Habits.
So what's the first habit that comes to mind?
That was for the camera. You have to watch it on YouTube.
You didn't see what you just did. It's a little bit disgusting.
No.
Okay.
She does this as well.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Okay, that's horrifying. Right. So Andy, let's explore this a little more. Why is she a bad driver? Or shite driver, I should say.
See, you don't know.
See?
I'm
Well,
actually really
this
good.
tells
No,
me.
there's
This tells
many
me.
events here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just picking up on a few.
Yeah.
First day.
Drives a
with the
white car. That's my
Yeah,
first.
never cleaned
that's
it.
my first,
People that don't
take
clean
on-
their car.
Max, where's your car right now?
Still gets her dad to clean the car. Still gets her dad to clean her car.
That's what Dad's off for.
Yep.
That's a very fair point. Yeah.
No, so the reason being, we once went to Cyprus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we hired a car. Nat basically tore up the whole lid of the bonnet like a tuna can and claimed she didn't see the fence. So just on that one moment,
You know what, fair
shite,
enough.
it worked.
I feel like
And I had to pay for it, everybody.
No, that was quite a bad one.
Shite.
Yeah. I actually did accelerator instead of brake.
Yeah, she put her foot down.
Andy's not remotely bitter about this, guys.
No.
As you can tell. Right, okay, I think that's
Wait.
enough of a grilling.
Then the
surely.
insurance company folded.
Yeah, that was the issue.
To be fair, that's a real kick in the goulags, isn't it? Right, that's quite enough of that. Nat, let's get on to
I can redeem myself
in a controlled, healthy way, discussing our feelings about Andy.
Ready?
So the first word I've got for you is sanity.
Yes, you tricked her.
See,
I love that. See,
there we go.
Yeah,
He's perfectly sane.
None.
He's perfectly. The second word, cooking.
oh, come on.
Spices
Nice.
and smells.
Okay.
Smells.
Didn't necessarily say good, Andy.
Yeah, it's alright.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Take that one on the chin. That's
Spicy.
all right. I can see the bitterness
Spicy.
in your eyes.
It's the spice.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, a lot. Always.
There's just a deep, prolonged sigh there after
Yeah, because
embarrassing.
all of these moments are just running through my head like.
I was hoping I'd get one just slip out immediately, or I'd get a slightly inappropriate word come out, or something to really drop a minute. Useful.
Never.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Clients, just so you know, that's not entirely true.
No, for me, like it's not useful.
God gave you feet. Stand on them.
Ooh, I've got drinker. That's the last one.
No, you're not.
No.
But well, in recent times, yeah.
I mean, I
Recent
can
time.
remember one specific instance
that's
which I'm remembering.
Yeah.
The
so
word that comes to my mind is calamari.
calamari.
I did drink the calamari once it came back up.
Oh no.
Disgusting. I think that's the only. Yeah, but that's the only time in all of 11 years that I've seen
Yeah.
Andy.
You didn't even see me.
That,
You heard about it.
Yeah, that I've actually heard that Andy's been sick when he's drunk.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, I wasn't
Like
even
that.
drunk.
He
I was just
doesn't
full up.
Drink. Normally, how nights go is we go out and then
You get
I
sick.
will drink, he will drink, and then suddenly I will drink more, and then he will drink less.
And then
That's
you're
just
sick.
how it goes.
We're all about that extra protein intake, aren't we, Andy?
I just love calamari that much. I wanted to eat it twice.
Yeah, fair game. No.
Boom.
On that disgusting note.
I really fancy calamari.
No.
Just leave that. That's it for this week. Thank you very, very much for listening. We're going to be bringing out new episodes each week and potentially having some very special guests on soon, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you can find us on More Than Muscle Ltd on Instagram and our website morethanmuscle.co.uk. Thank you very, very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.